We have multiple Boston Bruins updates as they are set to face tonight the Buffalo Sabres, including an injury update to Hampus Lindholm, as well as two big updates regarding some prospects the Bruins currently are possessing, one in Matt Poitras and a few other players, and also one in Dean Letourneau. You won't want to miss this. We have a lot to touch on today here, ladies and gentlemen. Before we do jump into this video, though, I ask you one favor, and that's if you haven't already, be sure to hit the sub button, join us here on the channel. We're getting daily videos out here throughout the NHL season. You won't want to miss it, as the Bruins are off to a very hot start and providing multiple updates every day. But let's get straight into this, because obviously going into tonight's game is another big opportunity for the Bruins to get another win, going up 3-0 on this season, and this will be a major start. Of course, we have to wait to see tonight's game, so things are in their favor, and heading into tonight's game, we also have an update regarding Hampus Lindholm, who is not yet on this lineup as of right now, because of course we knew he's going to be out. There was a knee injury which occurred last game, ultimately missing majority of the game, not playing again after about midway through the first period. And going into that, we do have the update from Scott McLaughlin about Marco Sturm, saying that he is day-to-day, he's out tonight, but expected to be back on the ice tomorrow, and they will go from there. And that's also coming out from Fluto Shinzawa as well, who's saying that he will practice tomorrow, not expected to, so that is obviously a good sign. Now, whether or not they're going to be putting him in full practice, or whether or not he will just be on the ice and, kind of getting some reps in, will still yet be the question, because we know they're going to be taking it quite lightly with Hampus Lindholm, especially after last season's injury. Now, we do know it was not a knee injury. We do know it was nothing major, is what they're calling it. However, that's what we heard last year as well, when he did actually end up missing the entire season with a broken kneecap. Now, I don't know why we couldn't get that right away last year, but this still just caused a bit of concern for at least me right now. But I know it's going to be nothing major. I feel like right now it's just because of what we saw last year, and we will get to the point once again where we're getting back to it. We know he'll be good and we'll be ready to go, for the next couple of games. Now, however, long he does sit out, I still think it's going to be a bit of a question there, because they're going to be taking their time. They do not want to rush him back, but they also have some good opportunities for some other players to jump in if needed to cover for Hampus Lindholm here in this instance. And that's exactly what's going on today. This is what we saw from Jordan Harris. A lot of excitement, just really excited, of course, playing in his home state. And this is going to be an awesome opportunity for him after being acquired in the offseason, as now being the 7th defenseman, really taking over the role that Parker Wotherspoon had last year. And he's going to make his regular season debut with this team here tonight for Hampus Lindholm, and also going in and taking over his spot directly. And you see there on the bottom, Andrew Peeke is being paired with Jordan Harris, leaving Zadorov and Jokiharju on the third line. So this is a bit of an interesting look. And I figured that maybe with Hampus Lindholm out, we probably would have saw, the line switch up. Zadorov and Jokiharju up to the second line, Harris and Peeke down to the third. That's not the case, though. And from morning skate, it looks like the offense will be the same, with that one change being Jordan Harris on defense with Swayman and net. But still, we may see some changes mid-game, but this is something right now that's going to be interesting to see how they do play out, because Mason Lohreit and Charlie McAvoy, I like the way that looks, of course. That's a very interesting and kind of good-looking line, not just on paper, but actually seeing it on the ice as well. But having Jordan Harris there with Andrew Peeke, I'm curious to see what style of line that will be, because we had Hampus Lindholm being a very offensive guy, Jordan Harris being a little bit more offense than defense, but still very good at both, and Andrew Peeke being kind of a jack of all trades here. So I'll be interested to see what the plan is on that side, but also how things are going to be changing here for the penalty kill, the power play, whatnot, and the special teams, to see how they do. And from what we've seen right now, going into it, we know we're going to see just a few minor tweaks, but keep what's working the same, because they've got 2-0 so far. Albeit, Capitals, that's a game that, we got held in by Jeremy Swayman. The team played well again as well. And then going into the last game as well, we saw a very, very physical game that this team really liked to play. So I'm curious to see if they'll continue not just that physicality, but also that winning streak. And it's going to be a very interesting thing to look at. So let me know what you think about that ahead of tonight's game. But going on to it, you probably just saw, I have another set of lines here. And this one comes from Mark Diver on the Providence Bruins. And I wanted to pull this up because, as we see right now, we know there's a lot of players that were able to make this team had there be a bit of a different circumstance. Some were on the brink, and from Marco Sturm was saying that a lot of these guys were disappointed, but they still have to earn the opportunity. So you're looking at the lines here. Alex Steeves, who of course was one of the final cuts for the Bruins, paired with Dan Stockmelis and Fabian Lysell. Lysell, another one of the midway cuts, I would say. I think he will get another opportunity here with the season this year. If not, I'll be curious to see what they do closer to the trade deadline. Then you go Harrison, Farinacci, Bancroft, you're probably missing a few names there, and that's exactly what I'm thinking. The third line, Merkulov, Poitras, and Matej Blumel. This is, if you're trying to call these guys up, you want to see these guys produce more offense. I don't see them being on the third line. They, in my opinion, would need to be kind of a 1B line or a 1A line, whatever you want to do. I think the first line, Alex Steve, Stanislav Melis, and Fabian Lysell, pairing that with Merkulov, Poitras, and Blumel being kind of that 1A, 1B, you could flip those around whatever way you want. In my opinion, that would be the first two lines, and then you move Harrison, Farinacci, and Bancroft down to the third, even though, of course, there's still going to be players that have the opportunity to come up this year. You want to get the guys that were on the brink to get more offense going, to prove that they should be the next ones up in the NHL. So having them there on this pairing is quite interesting in my opinion as well. And if this is correct with Zajac starting, Michael DiPietro being the backup for the season opener for tonight in the AHL. So let me know what you think about this, because for me right now, it doesn't seem like this is the lineup I would go with. Of course, they've had their own practices. They've probably seen some interesting things. And I mean, with this lineup in the AHL, I feel like you could really run all four lines at an exact same pace. Keep the time on ice the exact same for all of these guys. You could have a very good power play and whatnot. So maybe we are just trying to see this team kind of split things up, see how things do end up going. So I just want to know what you guys think here going into this game, and we'll see the result tonight, of course, once again, after the Bruins game as well. We'll see how this all does play out in Bridgeport, but this is curious for going into the first couple of weeks of this season, knowing that a lot of these guys are going to be fighting for an early call-up if they do play well, and going in, it's going to be something very interesting to see. Now, we do have another update on some prospects. Like I said, let me know what you think about this, but going into this season, we are looking for a lot from Boston College. We know that this team has quite a few players from Boston College, and they need to get going. One in particular is, of course, the guy we've all wanted to see, the guy we had so much hype for, not last season, I guess we could say, going into it, Dean Letourneau. His start this year has been nothing but fantastic. And James Hagens, of course, I underlined him because 3 points in 3 games, good start. You see Dean Letourneau at the bottom there, getting his first goal in the NCAA, 2 points in 3 games, and guess what? He's nearing his total from last year already, and this is a very good sign because Dean Letourneau last year did not look good. There's no way to sugarcoat that. Didn't look ready to play there. I think an extra year would have been, good there with Sioux Falls or wherever he ended up would have been playing, St. Andrews, wherever he did end up, wanting to stay or wherever he would have wanted to stay. But going into that Boston College year last year, I think he learned a lot, and especially now with Bruins camp again this season, going into this season as a much older, much stronger, much better player, this is a very positive outcome for the 6'7" center, who is going to be a big part and a big factor of the Bruins' plans going forward. And we know that looking at the offense right now, I mean, I'll pull up the lines. I know this doesn't necessarily kind of dictate what the plan is going to be for this team, but you see Casey Middlestat, Fraser Minton, Lindholm down the middle. You know we're going to have James Hagens up there. He's projected to be a very important player for this team going forward with how the centers and how the offense has kind of developed into one. So, seeing this immediately is a very positive sign. It is only 3 games in, but this is off to a very good start. You know that's boosting that momentum, that energy, that kind of hope for his season, and this is going to continue, especially now with, 6 players from the Boston Bruins being on this team. He knows that he's getting a lot of guys that he's going to know for a long time here, so I love what I'm seeing so far. Let's continue this, and let's keep going for not just this team down in Boston, but also the Boston College, the Boston Bruins, the Providence Bruins, all of this organization, keep it rolling, of course. I know there's a pretty big split between the college and university for this fan base, but Boston College kind of got to go for now a little bit, especially where we have so many prospects on that team, but that's all I got here in this video. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think about all of the news, of course. Pretty positive updates today, especially regarding Hampus Lindholm, knowing that it should be minor. Very interesting stuff in the AHL, but also down in the NCAA, we're seeing some good stuff from our boys. So let me know what you think in the comments below. That is all I have here in this video. If you did enjoy, of course, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out, though. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.